Everything in the Lakers locker room reportedly exploded, and nobody saw it coming. Sources close to the team claim J.J. Redick and LeBron James got into a heated confrontation inside the locker room, sparked by a viral clip from last Christmas that resurfaced recently.
Since we've gotten Bron back, we haven't been as organized offensively, too many random possessions.
Reports around the Lakers locker room have painted a chaotic picture, though nothing has been officially confirmed. According to unnamed sources close to the team, tensions allegedly flared between J.J. Redick and LeBron James following a heated exchange tied to a viral clip from last Christmas. At the same time, the broader storyline around the Lakers season has been just as intense. During LeBron's early absence due to injury, the team reportedly found a strong rhythm, going 11-3 over a 14-game stretch. The offense looked organized and efficient, with Luka Doncic controlling tempo, Austin Reeves stepping into a major scoring role, and players like Rui Hachimura contributing on both ends. In that span, the Lakers were described as balanced, fluid, and surprisingly cohesive, even ranking among the more efficient offenses in the league. Memorable wins during that stretch, including matchups in the NBA Cup run, highlighted strong performances across the roster, with multiple players producing high-scoring games and the team operating with clear spacing and ball movement. Defensively, they were also viewed as disciplined, holding opponents to relatively modest scoring and maintaining solid rotations. However, narratives shifted after LeBron's return to the lineup. Some observers pointed to an immediate dip in consistency, with the team's defensive numbers reportedly slipping and results becoming less stable, including a 2-4 stretch in several games. Discussions around on-court fit, rhythm, and shared usage between stars began to grow louder, especially as lineups featuring LeBron, Luka, and Reeves struggled at times to maintain the same flow seen earlier in the season. This backdrop set the stage for heightened emotions after a heavy Christmas Day loss to the Rockets, where the Lakers were outplayed from early on. The defeat intensified scrutiny around chemistry and decision-making, and it was in this post-game environment that J.J. Redick's comments reportedly reflected frustration and concern rather than standard post-game remarks. Overall, the situation has fueled debate about team identity, leadership balance, and how the Lakers move forward amid rising expectations and mounting pressure.
Why do you think your team was unable to execute the things that it was tasked with? Because we don't care enough.
That line landed hard because everyone who heard it immediately understood the meaning, and then he made it even stronger by reinforcing his point.
A matter of making the choice, and too often we have guys that don't want to make that choice. And it's pretty consistent who those guys are. And so Saturday's practice, I told the guys, it's going to be uncomfortable. The meeting is going to be uncomfortable. I'm not doing another 53 games.
And in that moment, it became clear who he was talking about. Everyone in the room could tell instantly. What made it even more uncomfortable was what came next. DeAndre Ayton didn't back his coach or treat the criticism seriously. Instead, he laughed it off afterward, acting as if Reich had just made a joke rather than delivering a real message.
Your coach told us we planned for it to be a bad day. They said it'd be an uncomfortable day for the team.
And y'all bought into that.
We just listened to
Yeah,
him.
y'all told him. Believed him. I'm not going to tell y'all. I'm not saying that.
That reaction said a lot about the mood in the locker room. When a head coach calls out professionalism after a nationally televised blowout, you expect some level of acknowledgement, not laughter. And that disconnect only amplified the tension in the building. From there, the conversation naturally drifted toward leadership, accountability, and how pressure is handled inside elite teams. In environments like this, even small disagreements can get magnified, especially when expectations are high and every loss is under a microscope. It also feeds into a broader narrative that always surrounds superstar-driven teams in the NBA. How much influence top players have, how much control coaches truly hold, and how quickly dynamics can shift when results don't match expectations. History has shown that these situations can become complicated fast, with coaches often becoming the focal point when things unravel, even after previous success. In that light, moments like this don't exist in isolation. They become part of a bigger conversation about power, responsibility, and pressure inside championship-level organizations.
Throws in a near prayer. Timeout, Eric.
What made the moment feel so significant was the context around it. In the modern NBA, there's always an unspoken balance between coaching authority and superstar influence. Most franchises try to maintain professionalism without letting public tension spill over, especially after high-profile losses. That's why J.J. Redick's post-game tone stood out. It didn't feel like a routine media answer. It felt intentional. He emphasized standards, effort, and execution at a time when emotions were already high, and that naturally put the spotlight on accountability across the entire roster. In situations like this, reactions inside the locker room mattered just as much as what's said publicly. Even small gestures like brushing off criticism or avoiding direct acknowledgement can be interpreted in different ways, depending on timing or on pressure. It also reflects a broader reality around star-driven teams. Communication isn't always equal in every direction. The relationship between coaches, veterans, and younger players often carries layers of expectation, experience, and hierarchy that can shape how messages are received. That's what made this stretch feel charged, not just the loss itself, but the way every response, quote, and moment started to get read through a larger lens of accountability and leadership within the team.
Everybody could go up to LeBron and think they could tell LeBron how to do certain things.
At first, it just sounded like typical locker room talk, but now it feels different. Agton is one of LeBron's closest allies, so if even he is holding back, it suggests the fear in the locker room runs deeper than people think. And it's not just him. Around the league, there's been growing discussion about how LeBron's presence can quietly suppress accountability within a team. The patterns seem to back that up. On the other hand, Luka Doncic couldn't be more different. He's already one of the most valuable assets the Lakers have, yet he plays with a hunger like he's still trying to prove himself. He listens, he executes, he energizes the group, and he thrives within structure. Even though he hasn't been with the team for long, his impact is immediate. When Luka is on the floor, he doesn't demand attention. He earns it through smart decisions, pace control, and a level of discipline that lifts everyone around him. That's why the criticism from Reich wasn't just emotional outburst or drama. It represented something deeper, a push against a system where mistakes were becoming too easy to excuse and responsibility too easy to avoid. And while Luka continues to settle in, many Lakers fans are already pointing out that the team should be built more around him. It's hard to argue against that sentiment. By the time he officially arrived in Los Angeles, the Lakers were already dealing with ongoing internal tension and pressure surrounding LeBron's role and influence. Luka didn't just join a roster, he entered a storyline, one where the weight of legacy and expectation was already overwhelming the environment. From the start, he made it clear this wasn't going to be a passive situation. The trade that brought him to Los Angeles stunned the league, and the organization quickly committed to him with a 3-year, $165 million extension. That wasn't just financial investment, it was a clear declaration that Luka represents the future of the franchise. And on the court, the difference was immediate. The Lakers played faster, cleaner, and more fluidly. Spacing improved, ball movement became more natural, and every action from cuts to pick and rolls felt more purposeful. The offense regained rhythm, and efficiency climbed as Luka took control of the flow. Defensively and structurally, the contrast was just as noticeable. While the team struggled with consistency before, Luka's presence helped stabilize possessions and reduce unnecessary breakdowns. Historically, his arrival in Los Angeles has been compared to other franchise-defining moves in the league, where a single star reshapes the direction of a team almost overnight. Because of that shift, tensions in the fan base have only grown louder. Some supporters believe the entire focus of the franchise should now be centered on Luka, and they argue that the future is already here. That has led to extreme reactions online, including suggestions that the Lakers should prioritize or even restructure around him completely. It's an argument driven more by frustration than realism, but it reflects a deeper truth. The organization is clearly at a crossroads. decisions that once revolved around a single superstar dynamic are now becoming more complex, and the balance of influence within the team is shifting. Even the front office appears to be adjusting. Some decisions are being made with less reliance on traditional hierarchy, signaling a gradual shift in internal control. Luka's presence, both through performance and leadership style, is becoming increasingly central to the team's direction. And if this feels like just another aging superstar debate, history shows it's more complicated than that. Teams have dealt with dominant personalities before, whether it was Kevin Durant in Brooklyn, Allen Iverson in Philadelphia, or Shaquille O'Neal during his late career transitions, but each situation had its own limits and context. What makes this situation different is how directly it impacts both structure and identity at the same time. Meanwhile, LeBron's influence continues to divide opinion. His supporters often point to legacy, branding, and impact beyond the court, while critics focus on how team dynamics and accountability have shifted during his presence. That contrast between perception and on-court reality has become one of the most debated topics in the league. On the other side, Luka operates without the same media machinery or narrative protection. His game speaks for itself through efficiency, production, and control. There's no need for manufactured storytelling because his impact is already visible in how the team functions when he plays. That difference is why conversations around leadership in Los Angeles have become so intense. Fans are no longer just debating talent. They're debating direction, identity, and future structure. And at the center of it all is a simple reality. The Lakers are no longer standing on one clear foundation. They are transitioning. Whether that transition is embraced or resisted will define what comes next. Because ultimately, the question isn't whether change is happening, it already is. The real question is whether the franchise will fully commit to it, or continue trying to balance two competing eras at the same time.